Good. Alright. I'm Jeff Aldorisio, and this is my project on Catechesis Series 1 to 3, and focus on Saint Cyril of Jerusalem. A little introduction about Cyril of Jerusalem. He was born in the year 315, and he was ordained priest in 335 by Bishop Maximus of Jerusalem. He's known as the doctor of the church due to his success in the churches in Jerusalem. Little is known about his life due to lack of oral tradition, and although his parents were said to be Christians, therefore they passed the tradition down to him, which influenced him to become a Christian. He was exiled for insubordination for 15 years, and he was allowed back in Jerusalem for the last 10 years of his life before he died in the year 386. So my thesis focuses on the first catechesis series, and it is, according to Cyril, one can relinquish their sins and acknowledge God as the brightness in life by rejecting the temptations of the devil, refusing to worship false gods, and avoiding deceitful people. Throughout the presentation, I'm going to go through each point individually. And I'm going to start with the first one, in rejecting Satan. So Satan can appear in many unexpected places. And some of the examples he gave throughout Catechesis 1 was eating the meats of animals, and this is a good example because we're feeding off the weakness of others, and that is an act of the devil. And ways to reject Satan are ways like very simple things, like a quote from Catechesis 1, "Turn away mine eyes from beholding vanity," and the vanity is the weakness, and he is telling you to turn another cheek when you see these weaknesses and you do not go toward it, but you go away from it. Next, we talk about false gods that are present in society, and he says obviously not to go toward them, but away from them. And temptations from these false gods have been prevalent in early Jerusalem and as early as early Egypt and Greece. And although they're difficult to avoid, if you realize that they are false and you go toward God and Jesus, you will be enlightened by him. One example he gives throughout Catechesis 1 is the example of the mountain, and with Jesus being at the top of the mountain. And if you go toward him, there's no turning back, because once you dedicate your life to Jesus, you have to stay with that and do not go away from him. Another thing from Catechesis was praying to the east, and this is because it is believed that Christ will come again from the east, because that is where paradise was and the Garden of Eden, and never to go toward the west because the sun sets west, therefore symbolizing darkness and the devil. So some of these examples of bad things were horse races, hunting, and bird watching. These are all signs of weakness because you're feeding off others and you're putting the hurting of them you're using their weaknesses as your enjoyment. Next is deceitful people. So I start with the serpent example that he gave of Adam and Eve, in which he tells them not to eat from the fruit of the tree, and they do it anyway through the temptation that the serpent gives them to eat it. And this is an example of trickery and how temptation is prevalent in society. If you follow these three things, they give you great preparation for baptism. The first thing is rejecting Satan before accepting baptism, because you have to dedicate your life to God. And through this enlightenment, one is refusing to sin and using Jesus as a savior and a model in which they want to model their lives after to ultimately end up in paradise. So as contemporary relevance, I used the temptation that was symbolized throughout catechesis and to college and high school peer pressure, in which leads to many things that are prevalent in the dorms, such as drugs, alcohol, and tobacco usage. And I have two quotes just from online that I found from government websites and CBS News. And the first one is, Nearly 90% of adult smokers began smoking before the age 18, and 14% of high school seniors reported smoking in the last month. This quote just shows the high percentage of people that start smoking early while they're in college or high school, and I just think that's just astonishing because you don't expect students to be doing this. And another quote I have is 78% of U.S. teens that drink alcohol, but this was said before age 18. I also find this very surprising because obviously the drinking age is 21. So I have a graph to show, and as you can see, the numbers at the bottom represent the ages, and the percentages of people that drink is on the left. And between age 18 and 21, which most college students are, the rate of alcohol use is pretty much 90%, which is just unexpected as you look around the classroom and you don't expect 18 out of 20 kids to be drinking alcohol.